When the official guild closed the contract, few expected what would come next. But your response was unlike anything anyone anticipated. It was bold, decisive, and powerful enough to shake even the Pentagon. This wasn't just about a simple ending. It was a turning point where your choice disrupted the established order and challenged the forces at play. Your unwavering stand proved that true strength comes from owning your decisions and refusing to be sidelined. This moment marked the beginning of a new chapter where your courage rewrote the rules and changed the game entirely. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to hit that like button. Subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers and leave a comment for them. Your support amplifies this message and helps us share this story with more people ready to be inspired by your powerful stand. The moment the official guild terminated the contract, the air shifted in ways no one expected. It wasn't just a dry business decision. It felt like the closing of a chapter that so many had invested their trust and hopes into. What was once a promise of partnership suddenly dissolved overnight, leaving a swirl of uncertainty and disbelief. The abruptness of the move caught everyone off guard, as if the foundation beneath their feet had been quietly pulled away without warning. For many, this termination was more than a lost opportunity. It was a blow to identity and stability. People had tied their futures to that contract, believing in the legitimacy and security it supposedly guaranteed. When the guild stepped back, it sent ripples through the community, shaking the very framework of trust that held everything together. It was a stark reminder of how fragile alliances can be, and how quickly the seemingly solid can turn to dust. Yet, amid this chaos, one thing was clear: this was not the end for everyone. While most saw the termination as a final verdict, others recognized it as a moment charged with hidden potential. Sometimes, when doors close violently, it forces you to look at the world differently, to realize that the rules you once accepted were made to be broken. This contract's end was not just a conclusion, it was the catalyst for something far greater. In the face of sudden loss and betrayal, many might have retreated quietly, accepting fate with a bowed head. But your response was different. It was fierce, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. Where others saw defeat, you saw an opportunity to stand tall, to take control of a narrative that seemed destined for loss. Your courage to challenge the status quo ignited a fire that no one anticipated, turning a quiet ending into the spark of a revolution. This wasn't just a reaction born from stubbornness. It was a powerful declaration of self-respect and unshakable belief in your worth. When the guild pulled the rug out from under you, your refusal to be silenced or marginalized became a beacon of resilience. It sent a message that you would not be a pawn in their game, but a player who would rewrite the rules with bold conviction. That response created a ripple effect. Suddenly, others who felt powerless began to see the cracks in the system. Your defiance illuminated hidden truths, encouraging others to question, to rise, and to reclaim their dignity. What started as a personal stand quickly transformed into a movement, proving that sometimes the most unexpected voices carry the loudest echoes. Few decisions have the power to shake monumental institutions, but your choice did exactly that. The Pentagon, a symbol of unyielding authority and control, felt the tremors from your stand like never before. It wasn't about the contract alone, it was about the deeper implications of one individual refusing to bow to manipulation and deceit. Behind the imposing walls of power, your defiance exposed vulnerabilities that many hoped would remain hidden. The corridors of influence were suddenly buzzing with whispers and questions. How could one person's unwavering stance disrupt decades of carefully maintained order? Your decision became a case study in the power of personal integrity to challenge even the most formidable structures. This shockwave went beyond bureaucratic discomfort. It rattled the very foundation of power, forcing those at the top to confront uncomfortable truths. Your refusal to accept manipulation wasn't just a breach of protocol. It was a challenge to the very principles that had long governed decisions in the shadows. And in that moment, the balance of power began to shift. Systems of control are built to be invisible, smooth, and seemingly unbreakable. But your single, decisive choice tore through the illusion like a thunderbolt. What many saw as a mere contract termination was actually a carefully orchestrated attempt to maintain dominance. But your refusal to comply disrupted that fragile order entirely. By rejecting the imposed terms and standing firm in your truth, you exposed the mechanisms designed to keep people compliant and silent. Control thrives on secrecy and complacency. Once those cracks appeared, it became impossible for the system to function as before. Your courage lit a path through the darkness, revealing how manipulation operates beneath polished surfaces. This disruption wasn't just symbolic, it had real consequences. It challenged the notion that power can only be wielded from the top down. Your example proved that true authority comes from within, from clarity of purpose and the willingness to defy injustice. One choice, made with unwavering conviction, became the chink in the armor of a seemingly invincible machine. Toxic alliances are like invisible chains. They bind, restrict, and slowly drain the spirit without us even realizing it. The end of your contract was more than a business break. It was the moment you shattered those chains, refusing to remain tethered to alliances that stifled your growth and compromised your values. Often, loyalty is mistaken for obligation, leading many to stay trapped in unhealthy relationships simply because that's how things are done. But your decision was a powerful rejection of that mindset. You chose freedom over familiarity, truth over convenience. Breaking away wasn't easy. It meant facing uncertainty and discomfort head on. But it was a necessary step toward healing, and empowerment. Your example teaches a vital lesson. Sometimes, walking away is the bravest act of love we can show ourselves. By rejecting toxic bonds, you open the door to authenticity and self-respect. The pain of breaking free was real, but so was the promise of a life unburdened by betrayal and manipulation. Authority often demands submission, yet true power is found when we refuse to surrender. When the official guild stepped back, expecting silence and compliance, they underestimated the force of your defiance. Your refusal to be controlled transformed the absence of authority into a stage for your own empowerment. Defiance is not rebellion for its own sake. It's a conscious choice to uphold one's dignity in the face of oppression. By standing firm when authority withdrew, you demonstrated that power is not handed down. It is claimed. Your resistance redefined what leadership and strength looked like in moments of crisis. This power of defiance resonates deeply because it speaks to our collective desire for autonomy. When structures falter, it is our inner strength that sustains us. Your story reminds us that sometimes the most significant authority lies in the courage to say no and to chart your own course despite external pressures. Betrayal is a silent poison. It creeps in disguised as trust and loyalty until it strikes with devastating clarity. Your experience revealed the painful truth behind the friendly faces and polished promises. What once seemed like steadfast support was a carefully crafted facade designed to manipulate and control. The moment you saw through this false veneer was a turning point. It's a bitter awakening to realize that those you depended on were playing a game with hidden rules where your interests were never truly valued. But with clarity came liberation. Knowing the truth, no matter how painful, freed you from illusions. Your journey exposes a universal truth. Betrayal, though painful, often clears the way for profound growth. It forces us to question, to rebuild our boundaries, and to find allies who honor our authenticity. Unmasking deceit is the first step toward reclaiming power and trust, starting with trust in ourselves. There is a defining moment in every struggle when you choose to stop playing by someone else's rules. Your story is centered on that instant, the turning point where you reclaimed control and fundamentally altered the course of the game. This wasn't a passive acceptance of fate. It was a bold assertion of agency. Taking control means confronting fear, uncertainty, and the weight of opposition. It requires fierce clarity and an unbreakable belief in your own value. That moment when you stepped forward, refusing to be sidelined or silenced, sent a clear message. The narrative was yours to write, and you intended to win on your own terms. Changing the game is never easy. It demands vision, resilience, and sometimes sacrifice. But your courage inspired others to rethink their own roles and possibilities. You proved that one empowered individual can shift the dynamics of entire systems and open new paths where none seemed possible. Behind every grand operation, there are unseen players pulling strings, manipulators who thrive in the shadows, orchestrating outcomes for their own gain. Your stand pierced that veil of secrecy, revealing the puppeteers who preferred to stay hidden behind layers of deception. This exposure was more than just an unveiling. It was an act of justice. It was a moment of reckoning, forcing accountability and inviting transparency where there had been none. Your bravery in exposing these hidden forces empowered others to speak up and resist manipulation in their own lives. It dismantled the myth that control is absolute, showing instead that truth and integrity can dismantle even the most entrenched schemes. The end of the contract could have been your downfall, the point where defeat defined your story, but instead, it marked the beginning of your transformation from victim to victor. This rise was not just about overcoming external challenges. It was an inner journey of reclaiming hope and power. Falling is inevitable in any fight for justice or truth. But rising is a choice. You chose to stand up with renewed strength, using every setback as a stepping stone toward greater clarity and purpose. Your victory wasn't handed to you. It was earned through resilience and an unyielding spirit. Your story is a beacon for anyone struggling with loss or betrayal. It proves that even after the darkest falls, the human spirit can soar higher than before. This triumph is a testament to the power of perseverance and self-belief in rewriting one's destiny. The termination of the contract was not just an ending, it was the threshold of a new beginning. Breaking free from constraints, toxic ties, and false promises opened space for innovation, growth, and authentic self-expression. This moment marked the birth of a future shaped by your own vision. Endings are often misunderstood as failures, but in your case, it was a necessary shedding of old skin. The closure allowed you to step into a more empowered version of yourself, unburdened by external expectations. It was a release into freedom, a chance to create without limits. Your new beginning embodies hope and possibility. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the best opportunities arise from the rubble of what was lost. This chapter is yours to define, and it shines with the promise of uncharted potential. Clarity is a weapon more potent than many realize, especially when wielded by someone refusing to be controlled. Your unwavering clarity cut through the fog of manipulation, revealing truths that those in power hoped would remain obscured. This illumination was threatening because it undermined the carefully constructed illusions on which control depended. Those who profit from secrecy and deception fear transparency because it strips them of their advantage. Your ability to see clearly and speak honestly challenged their dominance. It showed that power is fragile when confronted by authenticity and courage. This fear from the powers that be is a validation of your impact. It means you hit a nerve and forced a confrontation with uncomfortable realities. Your clarity didn't just scare them, it inspired others to seek truth and reclaim their own power. Living in a world rife with deceit requires a steadfast commitment to sovereignty, the ability to own your truth and stand firm despite external pressures. Your journey is a powerful example of reclaiming that sovereignty, refusing to be shaped or controlled by lies and manipulation. Sovereignty means more than independence. It means deep self-awareness and integrity. By choosing to live authentically, you broke free from cycles of dependency and false allegiance. You became the master of your own destiny in a world that often rewards conformity. Your story encourages others to embrace their own sovereignty, reminding us all that true freedom comes from within. In a landscape littered with deception, your commitment to truth shines as a guiding light. Integrity has a ripple effect that knows no boundaries. Your unwavering adherence to your values sent shockwaves far beyond your immediate situation, inspiring others across communities, industries, and even nations. The strength of your character transcended the contract and the guild. It resonated universally. When someone stands firmly for what is right, it challenges the norms everywhere. Your story became a symbol of hope for those facing similar struggles, proving that integrity can topple corrupt systems and ignite global movements. Your influence reached beyond borders, touching hearts and minds far and wide. This impact illustrates a profound truth. Individual integrity is a catalyst for collective change. Your legacy will be remembered not just for defiance, but for the powerful example you set for courage and honor. Freedom is often misunderstood as mere absence of constraint, but your experience redefines it as the active creation of one's own reality. Revolutionizing your life meant breaking free from imposed narratives and designing a future rooted in authenticity and self-determination. This true freedom requires bravery, as it means stepping into the unknown and owning every part of your story: flaws, strengths, fears, and hopes alike. It's a revolutionary act to live unapologetically, to reject control, and to embrace the full spectrum of your humanity. Your journey is a powerful testament to what freedom truly means: the ability to stand tall in your truth, to act with integrity, and to inspire others to do the same. In revolutionizing your reality, you've not only transformed your life, but also lit a path for countless others seeking liberation. Sometimes, what feels like an ending is actually the dawn of something greater. The Guild's decision to terminate the contract was met with shock, confusion, and disbelief. No one saw it coming. Not the team, not the partners, and certainly not those who had believed in the security of that agreement. It was like a sudden storm ripping through a calm sky, forcing everyone to reconsider what was possible. Yet within that chaos lay the seeds of transformation. The abrupt severance was more than a bureaucratic maneuver. It was a call to awaken, to challenge complacency, and to embrace uncertainty as a chance to rebuild stronger. When a chapter closes, the story doesn't end. It pivots, gathering momentum toward new horizons. What made this moment truly extraordinary was how it forced a reassessment of values, priorities, and relationships. It challenged you to rise above disappointment and fear, to see beyond immediate loss and envision a future where you are the architect of your own fate. The unexpected end became a powerful catalyst for awakening resilience and hope. In the face of loss, most people falter or withdraw, but your spirit refused to be diminished. Defiance isn't merely stubbornness, it's a profound expression of self-worth and conviction. When the guild pulled away, expecting silence or submission, you instead stepped forward with unwavering resolve. This defiance was not reckless, but rooted in a deep understanding of your own strength. You refused to accept narratives designed to minimize you. By standing firm, you disrupted expectations and proved that power isn't always wielded by those in official positions, but by those who refuse to be controlled. This kind of spirit is contagious. It inspires others to confront their own challenges with courage and authenticity. Your unyielding stance became a beacon, illuminating the path for anyone who's ever felt powerless in the face of overwhelming odds. Saying no is one of the most overlooked acts of power. In a world that often values compliance over courage, refusing to accept an unjust decision is revolutionary. Your choice to reject the guild's termination wasn't just about a contract. It was a refusal to be silenced, manipulated, or diminished. Saying no means reclaiming agency, drawing boundaries, and demanding respect. It transforms the narrative from victimhood to empowerment. It is a declaration that you will not be a footnote in someone else's story, but the author of your own. This act reverberates far beyond the immediate situation. It teaches others that the simple word no can be a shield, a sword, and a foundation for rebuilding. The power of your no reshaped the landscape, showing that true freedom starts with the courage to refuse.